I don't even think I can do intros anymore, man. Seriously.
Brilliant. Oh my God. This club.
This club, man. This club.
Did you watch the content interview this morning?
You know what? I went to sleep watching it last night. I went to sleep on my phone, and I woke up. The Conte interview was just playing in my hands. I woke up. I went to sleep watching it, and I woke up watching it. I fell asleep with my phone in my hand.
It's been on repeat. You've been dreaming about it as well.
Exactly, and the words ringing as true as ever right now. Obviously, we all know what happened last night. It looks as though Thomas Frank is on the brink, and exactly as Mark M says in the comments, here we go again. It looks as though Spurs are going to be forced to make a change. Whether that change is going to come now, next week, the week after, or the week after that, we're still left in the dark right now. But yeah, look, it looks like a change is imminent, really.
It's when, not if, isn't it?
Yeah.
At this point, he could get another game. Maybe we get given the Burnley game, but this guy ain't lasting. When you're at the point where, with each bad result, it's like a referendum on your tenure at the moment. It's only, even if he survives this somehow, it's looking more and more unlikely as time passes. Even if he beats Burnley, one more bad result, and all of a sudden we're back where we are. So
yeah, and when you've got games that we've got coming up, then you just can't see anything other than that. Just quickly, because a lot of journalists have been chiming in on the Thomas Frank situation. Fabrizio Romano says that Frank's job is at serious risk. Internal talks are taking place at Tottenham. And Sammy Mockbell says that Thomas Frank losing internal support at Tottenham as the club consider calling time on his 7-month reign. At least one club executive has actively recommended for his dismissal. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I don't know if this is the way it is in the boardroom, but in my mind, it feels as though the boardroom are probably actively seeking Thomas Frank to leave, but I think the ones that are hanging on for dear life are probably Vinay and Lang. Those are the guys that are probably wanting to keep him in the job.
But again, it just goes to show how much of a mess it is in that boardroom, because on Friday, they had a big kind of, reporting from journalists from inside the club that they're backing Thomas Frank. They want to do things in a calm and considered manner. They're not going to rush to any decision. They even said that West Ham is not considered a must-win game for Thomas Frank. They're backing him, all this kind of stuff. We were saying in the preview, if we do lose, will they make an emotional decision? Will that sway them, or are they going to stick to their guns? And we were saying maybe if it's a heavy defeat, maybe that would be, if it's like a bad result or a draw, maybe they just stick to their guns. But it seems as though that defeat is rocked them. And obviously, I think the main thing is the whole stadium chanting, "You're getting sacked in the morning." When that starts happening, and they also know that it's only a matter of time before the true attention starts going their way. Right now, it's that they're chanting that in the stadium is mainly directed toward Thomas Frank, even though there was a protest against the board before the game. Obviously, it was small numbers in the stadium, clearly directed towards Thomas Frank. But it's only a matter of time. The longer they keep Frank in a job, the tension's going to turn their way sooner rather than later. So I think that's rocked them. We've seen as well, there's a video circulating about a fan confronting Vivian Lewis after the game. That's probably affected, she's probably thinking, oh shit, I'm getting shit now, walking around the stadium, we've got to make a change here. I think they're starting to panic. They're starting to think, okay, this is completely gone wrong. And I think before the game, they were probably thinking, we're not going to change this. This is going to be, we're sticking with it even if we don't get the result. But I think the reaction to what's happened has led them to this thinking okay, this is now a line that's probably got to be drawn here. I think something desperately needs to happen because we're at a very, very low ebb here, and we're starting to get the blame. People are starting to turn to ENIC, and I think that's probably led them to look at the situation and think, okay, this can't go on.
I also feel it's a really bad look when you've got Vinay and Lang at the helm of making footballing decisions. That's their role in the football club, to make footballing decisions. And, they're the ones that hired Frank. They're the ones that want to stick by him and stick through the bad times. And ultimately, it looks like it's not going to be their decision to sack him when they're the ones actually supposed to be making the footballing decisions.
Who knows? who knows who's making the decisions here? Is it a vote? Does someone get the final say? It's hard to really know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's an absolute mess. And I think the fact that I think it also shows how incompetent from a footballing perspective they are when they're constantly pumping out the message that they're backing him, and now all of a sudden they've been really shaken by this result. But it's like it shouldn't have taken this one result for them to realise that there's a high possibility that this isn't working here.
But I genuinely believe it's not even like the result has shaken a lot of people in that boardroom. Yeah, but we've heard even before this result, there had been people in that boardroom that had wanted Frank to go already. And this result has been kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back in that situation. But I genuinely believe if those voices were not in the boardroom, Vinay and Lang would want to stick it through and stick by it. So that's worrying in its own sense. You know what I mean? So...
Well, I think at this point they're starting to look at they should be anyway, starting to look at their own position, thinking, what if we're backing this guy? We're basically saying he's going to be our Arteta, quote unquote. This is going to be the guy we're backing through all the shit times, and hopefully something good comes out of it. But the longer this goes on, their job's surely got to come under scrutiny, because if they're the ones backing it and saying no, the right course of action is to back him, then surely they have to get some accountability there.
Well, they should be thinking about it. Well, what does my opinion even hold here? Like, where like, for their own kind of merit, being like, look, the club are not listening to me here anyway, so what's the point of me being here? From both sides.
They are listening because he's still here.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they sack him today, and Vinay...
We don't really know for sure.
We don't know for sure, but we know that Vinay, has stuck with Arteta before, and we know that the message coming out from the club, which I suppose is from them, saying we want to stick by them, we want to stick through it. So, look, I don't know for sure, and I don't know for certain the conversations that have been held behind closed doors, but if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that Vinay probably does want to stick through this.
Well, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month, I can't remember when it was, but I said they should be looking at alternatives already. I know it's not really good for a manager to be in charge of a football club when the hierarchy is already sounding out alternatives and sounding out replacements. But I said if they were serious, the way things are going, they should be weighing up alternatives at the very least, because there's a very good possibility that this won't last even the season. And it seems as though like they haven't considered it. They haven't considered that this guy is not going to last the full season, and they've in their mind they're like, okay, we're going to back him. This is going to be our guy. And now we've had this awful result off the back of what's been a horrendous Premier League season, and this is obviously the rock bottom. We're losing at home to an 18th place West Ham, who are winless in 10 games, an inner London derby. Like it's an absolute diabolical result, no two ways about it. And it seems though off the back of this result, they're like, okay, we might need to change it. But you should have been considering that a long time ago, because now where are we? We're in an absolute mess, because if they sack him, we're in a mess. If they keep him, we're in a mess. There's no real long-term answer, I think, that we can get during this window, unless something really special happens and you can convince Xavi Alonso to come. I don't really see an alternative that's going to appease the fan base who's going to be here for the long term. Interim-wise, there aren't. I mean, United have installed like a Carrick, but who can we really install that can maybe get the fans on side very quickly? Who's maybe a popular figure? Could it be a Robbie Keane? Would Ryan Mason be that? I don't think so. I think we've had enough of Mason like being in charge as interim. Robbie Keane's doing a decent job, but some people said, could you do a Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe co-manager for the 6 months?
Robbie Keane has got a full-time manager's job. Why would he come just for a few months?
Because it puts him if he does a good job, puts him in the shop window a bit. Like look at Van Nistelrooy. He was in charge for. I know he failed at Leicester, but he was in charge for 5 games at United, and he got a Premier League job off the back of it. So it puts you in the shop window. If you come in and do a good job, even if it's just for a short amount of time, all of a sudden people start looking like, oh, he got some results in the Premier League. Maybe it's worth giving him a job. Look at Mason. Just the pure fact that he was interim here probably got him a West Brom job. So I think, yes, it's great he's doing it for Ferencváros, but Premier League is a lot more attention. All of a sudden, if you've got ambitions, maybe he gets a championship job off the back of being at Tottenham. You know what I mean?
He actually spoke about that recently, about would he consider managing in the Championship right now, and he says where he is right now is much better than being in the Championship. So yeah. I don't even think that he's managing in European football right now with Ferencváros, and I know he was saying like people sniff up their nose at these kind of leagues, but He said he's delighted with where he is. Obviously, he would say that whilst being manager there, but he didn't seem like he's interested in going and managing the Championship, and he wants to carry on kind of proving his name in the managerial world, and he's doing a very good job. So, look, I get what you're saying, and it does putting him in the shop window, but...
Well, it might not be Keane. I'm not sold. I'm just saying,
I don't think Keane is a starter, to be honest. I'd love to see it. I think it would be like a feel-good appointment if we got Robbie Keane in on a 6-month deal, whatever. But I just don't think that's a viable option. You've got people like Ryan Mason, like you said. We've got Johnny Heitinger that has just come in as assistant manager to Thomas Frank, and it looks like they might only work one game together. Yeah. Heitinger obviously was manager at Ajax this season, didn't go very well for him, got sacked in November. He was number 2 for Arne Slot last season. He's definitely a viable candidate. Matt Wells should have held on for a few more. He should have held on for a few more months because he probably would have got the role. You know, you've got people like Jurgen Klinsmann. You know, he came in as a player back in the 90s and saved us from relegation. Can he do the same as a manager? You know, obviously it went horribly wrong for him in the South Korea job. In the USA job, I can't remember how it went for him there, but he's got to be considered, someone like Jurgen Klinsmann.
I guess so. We're that desperate at the moment in terms of what direction it goes to if we have made this decision with Frank. And I think that has to be made because I feel like it's unfair even at the moment to keep him in a job in the sense that if he's in the charge, in the dugout for Dortmund, and it doesn't go well, which is highly likely that that's going to happen given our injuries and whatever, you're basically throwing him to the wolves. You got the whole stadium chanting for him to be sacked, and you're basically keeping him in place, and all the eye is going to be on him. And it's almost unfair to kind of keep him in the job with all of that. Obviously, he would argue, you know, if I get a result or a good performance, and all of a sudden that can turn very quickly. But I think for me,
Ozzy Ardiles just sitting there.
Ozzy Ardiles. Someone said Jermaine Defoe. He was the coach at Tottenham. I mean, are there any former players out there who are currently coaches who, you know, you think could maybe do the job for a bit? It's tough to say. It's tough to say what direction. Maybe it is just Heitinger, but I was looking at his Ajax job, and it was really horrific in terms of results. That, you know, the underlying numbers as well. It seemed like they were getting battered every week as well. And this is an Ajax team that should be, you know, performing well in the Dutch league, and they just weren't. So him being in the role, even as an interim, isn't exactly an exciting thought. Someone says Ralph Ragnick. And there have been suggestions.
What about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Ole?
Ole at the wheel?
I think it only worked at United because he's a legend. Like I don't know, like, and he had the respect there. Like, I think if he's gonna come here, I don't think he's gonna get the same respect, in my opinion. So I think you need someone, if you're going down the interim route in terms of just on the pure vibes, and Ole would be just for vibes. And I think you need someone who's loved here, and I think that needs to be a former player who everyone could get behind, and who everyone's going to back, and people aren't going to turn on. People saying Harry Redknapp. Would you take Harry Redknapp as an interim?
Yeah, I probably would take it. I would take it. We're in desperate times right now. We do need a kind of experience. I know we're looking at interims.
79 years old.
I know, but we kind of just need someone.
When was the last time he managed?
The last time he managed was at QPR. Well, he went to Jordan for a little bit.
Jordan, yeah, it's a long time ago you're talking about. 2016, 17. It's a long time ago, and he's been out of management. Is he going to be up to scratch with, you know, how modern day clubs manage all data science, medical science, sports science, all that kind of stuff? You know, do we need that? Maybe we don't need that. Maybe we just need someone who's going to go, run around a bit, just go attack, have a shot, have a go.
We
just need that.
I think as well, what we need right now is someone just to instill a bit of belief in these players again, because their confidence looks shot to pieces. They look lost on the pitch, to be honest. And I think, tactics are great and all the modern stuff is great and everything, but I feel that we do need someone just to come in and just to perk them up a little bit. And Harry could be the guy for the job.
Maybe. I mean, it's absolute dire straits at the moment, and this is my point about the board, the hierarchy. This is the position that we've been left in now, because they haven't been thinking ahead. I think they've kind of been burying their heads in the sand a bit about Thomas Frank and about how it's been going, and now it's kind of hit them like a punch in the face, almost like a ton of bricks. This result and where we're at. I think the fan base have known it's not been working for a while, but they've been kind of very much on the we're backing him. They're kind of ignoring all the outside voices. But now it's like this result has just smacked them in the face, and that fan reaction has absolutely smacked them in the face. And now they're scrambling, and now they're like, "What do we do? Do we make a change? Now we have to make big decisions." Blah blah blah. But they should have been planning for this a long time ago, because this was always where it was heading, how we were playing, and the results we were getting. That it was only going to head in this direction. And as I've said with previous managers, when they go through difficulty, they've always had credit in the bank for one reason or another, or they've had some legs to stand on, or some reasons to think it's going to turn around, it's going to get better, or there's reason to believe in these managers, that we've stuck with before. But with Thomas Frank, there's just none of that. You don't have his managerial career really to bank on, because the best he's ever achieved with Brentford is 9th. And yes, he overperformed with them, but the football he played was never particularly exciting. He never got close to winning any trophies or anything like that. He's not a winner. He doesn't have that experience. He's never really had a fantastic run of form as Tottenham manager to show this is what I'm capable of or anything like that. He's never got us playing football that Tottenham fans are going to be happy with. He doesn't have the personality that Tottenham fans can really connect with, or that he doesn't speak like he's managing a top 6 club. The football that we're playing is absolutely dire, and it's not been attractive even when we've been at our best. It's been maybe effective at our best, but it's never been attractive or something that we enjoy watching. He makes excuse after excuse for why we're playing the way we are and the form that we're in. I think there's just nothing at the moment to look at and think this is going to get any better, or this is a guy to throw your hat in the ring with, or throw your chips behind. There's nothing to suggest that. So for me, even like he could turn around and we could beat Burnley 1-0 away from home and get a win, and yes, it's a massive game, but there's nothing to suggest that that's going to be a turning point or anything like that. Like, we were talking to Sky Sports earlier, and he was like, we were talking to the reporter, and he was saying, that Burnley game is now massive. I'm like, this game was massive. This is it. Like, that loss has done it for him. I don't think that Burnley game's even massive anymore. We've had that moment already. Even if he wins the Burnley game, I don't think that even matters anymore.
He's not even going to get the Burnley game.
He won't get it, but even if he was in charge and won it,
look, the damage is done.
That's my point. The damage is done. It's not massive anymore. It's beyond that now.
Well, it's still massive, but like the damage is done, and I think like if anyone was coming into the West Ham game being like apprehensive about Thomas Frank and thinking, or even saying give him till the end of the season, like I've been saying all season, it's just like that West Ham game for a lot of fans is the straw that broke the camel's back, and I think his job is completely untenable after that result and after that performance. We cannot keep going the way we're going, because if we're going the way we're going, we are genuinely in a genuine chart of getting relegated this season. Like, that's not even hyperbolic. That is not even like crazy to talk about. It's just the reality that we're in right now. We're 10 points above West Ham. We've got Burnley next, who, there's no given that we're going to go up there and win. So let's say we get a point there and West Ham get a point. All right, fine, 10 points or maybe even less. After that, we are playing Newcastle, we are playing Arsenal, we are playing Man U, we are playing Man City. If we keep him in the job, that's 4 losses. Yeah. I'm pretty much certain.
Considering how we played against him before.
I'm pretty certain those are going to be 4 losses, right? So there's a genuine chance that gap in 5 games' time is going to be a lot closer than 10 points. Mm-hmm. So, and we've even got hard games coming up after those, the next 5 games. So if we keep Thomas Frank in a job, there is a genuine chance of relegation, or a genuine chance of being in a relegation battle. If we make the change, there's probably still a realistic chance of it and being embroiled in a relegation clash, but at least it's something different. At least it gives us a bit of a fighting chance, because we know what we're in with Thomas Frank right now. We know the way we're playing, and we know the results that we're getting. 2 wins, I think, in the last 15 games. We need a massive change right now, right here, right now, to have any chance of saving somewhat. Like, look, I said yesterday, if we kind of make a chance and go on a bit of good form, European football is still salvageable. But I'm not even looking at that right now. I'm looking at survival. I'm genuinely looking at survival. Like, that's how crazy it's got.
Yeah, and we just need to change the vibes at this place. We need something. Something has to change. The hierarchy ain't going anywhere. We can complain all we want and do protests, and that's absolutely fine, and we should be doing that, but they're not going anywhere, especially in the short term. They're not going to go anywhere until they get an offer and they sell. So that ain't going to change. We're not going to do a fire sale in January. We're not going to change the squad in January. It's just not going to happen, as much as people might want that, and it might be necessary. I'll debate whatever, but that ain't going to happen in January. There's only one thing we can change, and that is the manager. Yeah. And I think when it comes to being on the pitch and how we're performing, he's the number one problem, in my opinion, how we're setting up and how we're approaching games, how the players, their lack of belief in him as well. That's obviously a massive thing as well. Like, the players don't seem to vibe with him. They don't seem to believe in what he's trying to do. And I don't know if Frank as well seems to be burying his head in the sand when he speak to him, when he's listened to him in press conferences. Oh, we're closer to turning it around than we are further away. Like, what are you? Oh, he goes, it might sound deluded, but we're very, very close to something special. Like, what are you on about? What are you talking? Are you watching the same games we're watching? We are dreadful. We got thoroughly, I'm not even talking about it was a close game, we were thoroughly outplayed in that first half against one of the worst West Ham teams the Premier League has seen.
They were popping the ball around us.
Mad.
We made them look so good yesterday. This average Tin Pot West Ham team.
Worse than average. They're shocking. Yeah. They're terrible. They lost 3-0 to Wolves.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. In the last 3 weeks, they've lost to Wolves 3-0. They've lost to Nottingham Forest, 2 massive games for them in terms of the relegation battle. And they come to Tottenham and they take a win and they look like the best version of West Ham we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. It's crazy.
And Frank is coming out with just like, look, we could have won this game 2-1. Everything's fine, basically. We're very close to turning it around. We're on to something special. And then you've got Romero coming out in his interview saying this was a disaster today. And that's really what the truth is. Yet Frank is trying to portray something very, very different, and it's almost as if he's either deluded, he's either just trying to save his skin by saying these things, or he's burying his head in the sand of the problems that we're seeing on the pitch. Everyone can see what is happening on that football pitch, and it is absolute dross. It is awful, and yet Frank is. I don't know if he's trying to gaslight us with what he's saying. I'm sorry. In the press conference before the game, he's saying, last 6-7 games it's been better. I'm looking at the games that last 6-7 games. That includes games against Brentford that we were absolutely diabolical. Forest, which we were absolutely outplayed. That includes games like Villa, where in that first half, I know in the second half we tried to bring it back, but first half we were absolutely outplayed, and the game was done in that first half. Those are the kind of games he's talking about, where he includes in a run of games where, we were apparently a bit better and we were showing consistently good performance. What are you talking about? It boggles the mind, some of the stuff he says. Before, he was saying we haven't had 2 bad games in a row. What is he talking about? That stuff should, in itself, if that's either he's lying or that really tells you the mindset of what of how he interprets what he's seeing on the pitch. If that is how he interprets it, that's in itself got to show you that either he thinks this is a good way of approaching football, and we expect to see more of what we're seeing, or he thinks that he's managing a mid-table team, and he thinks he's managing a team that if we finish 13th or 14th or whatever, we're going to be happy with that because it's an improvement on last season, and that's what he's used to when he was at Brentford. It is no way to be talking about or thinking about managing a top 6 team. When you think about what happened yesterday, no other response other than that was utterly unacceptable what I'm seeing, and we're going to strive to be a lot better than what we've seen, and we're going to work every day and work every minute to be a hell of a lot better than what we're seeing. That is the only response we should be hearing from him, not that, we could have won this game 2-1, we're so close to turning it around, look how good we're doing, we're improving. Remember last season we finished 17th. I'm just done with him. I'm done with his rhetoric, I'm done with his football, and I'm done with this manager.
Yeah, and I think the sentiment is pretty much the same across large sections of the fan base. I didn't speak to one person yesterday. I didn't think Frank should go in. And in fact, the club should have given him the Martin Yole treatment after that first half yesterday. Literally, that was a sackable offence on its own, that first half performance against that shocking West Ham side. Literally, he should have been handed that P45 inside the dressing room at half-time yesterday. The great Martin Yole, who did such great things for this football club, got sacked at half-time against Getafe for a lot less than what Frank has been showing so far this season at Tottenham Hotspur. So I'm sorry, but he should have been given the sack at half-time yesterday. And it's actually a joke that we're still sitting here at nearly 4 p.m. the next day after the fact, and after what we've seen pretty much all season, that we haven't had that club announcement yet. The club announcement has to be imminent. We have to see the end of this reign of terror of this football club. And, you know, I have been trying to find positives, trying to put a positive spin on it pretty much all season, trying to put my trust in the guy. But at some point, it's got to come to an end. And yesterday was really like, look, I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, I don't think this guy is the answer at this football club, but I'm willing to give it time till the end of the season. But I just can't. I just can't anymore. It's got to come to an end. And I'm like you. You're probably even more sick and tired because you've been calling it for a long time. But
even when we were winning, I was saying.
Yeah, I know you were, and I'm just look. It's got to come to an end. It's really got to come to an end. And I'm sick and tired of hearing all this stuff about the playing staff and about they're not good enough and we are where we're supposed to be and all this kind of crap and what do you expect the manager to do with these kind of players? Like, what do you mean, what do you expect the manager to do with this kind of players? Are you telling me man for man we've got a worse team than West Ham? You're telling me man for man we've got a like-for-like team against Brentford and Nottingham Forest and all these kind of clubs? Like, no, like, we've got a team that can be doing a lot better than what we're showing right now. And I'm drawing a lot of similarities to what I'm seeing under the AVB and Tim Sherwood era, right? Tim Sherwood, after that 4-0 loss to West Ham, got off in his press conference or his post-match interview, said, you know, I see a lot of players that, you know, don't want to fight for the cause. You know, that whole speech that he gave.
I ain't going to forget about this when we get down the
Exactly. You know, he said all that speech. And I remember the fan rhetoric at the time was saying these players are nowhere near good enough. These players, you know, we need a whole change of the playing staff and blah, 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 blah. Same as what we're seeing now. What happened after that? Pochettino came in. And what did Pochettino do? He made some of those players that were in that team, the Hugo Llorises, the Jan Vertonghen's and the rest of them, he made them stars. And the players that were not good enough and the players that were past their sell-by date at the club, they were weaned out slowly and we were upgraded on them. That's exactly what needs to happen now. You know, there are some players at this football club that can be made stars, but there obviously are positions in this club and this squad that need to be upgraded, and we need to move them on, and we need to see a regeneration in the playing style in those certain positions. But I do think we're in a very similar position to what we were then to what we are now.
I guess the difference is back then we had a lot of aging players. We had a lot of players who were at the wrong end of their career. Now it's a bit different. A lot of our players are either peak age or very, very young. We don't really have too many, apart from Ben Davis. How many players do we actually have who are over 30? Paulinho, maybe he's 30.
Yeah, but he's only on loan as well.
He's only on loan. Like, there's not too many players, but there's definitely...
regardless of age, though, there is still key areas on the pitch where you can see, you know, we need massive upgrading.
Absolutely.
That's the point I'm trying to make. But there are key members of this playing staff which can be stars under the right management. Mm-hmm. That's the point I'm trying to make, you know. In terms of the makeup of the squad, in terms of where we're at as a squad, it's not too dissimilar.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? If I'd seen Frank approach games in a different way, if I'd seen basically him try to play a style of football that I can get behind, but it's just not working because the players aren't good enough. And, you know, if I could see, if we upgrade on this player or that player, you know, then we could definitely be a much better team, and there's something I can get behind. That would be different. But the way Frank sets us up and the way he approaches games, our only method of attack, it's get out wide to Porro and swing crosses in. He swung in 24 crosses yesterday.
On his own?
On his own. Just Porro yesterday. 24 crosses. That is evidence of exactly what our method of attack is under this manager. Get the ball to Porro and swing it in. And not only that, only have one striker in the penalty area. Make the centre mids drop back a bit. Don't allow them to get into the box because you're scared of counter-attacks. It is a losing strategy. It's a strategy only befitted of a team that's looking to stay up. It is not the strategy of a team that is wanting to be one of the best teams in the league and wanting to kick on. Whether you think we are at that level or not is irrelevant. That is what we have to strive to be. That is what the aim has to be. And that is what you have to imprint on the team. That is a style of play. That is what you have to try. And then when you see it's not working, then you upgrade on what's not working. You get, okay, how do we get this football to work? I don't want this football to work from Frank. I'm sorry, I'm sick of it. I'm not interested in watching what he's got to offer. It is dull. It is boring. It is pragmatic. It is completely against the ethos of the club. And I don't understand people like, it's because he's got the bad players. I don't really care. He should be striving to be where we want to be. That is how he should be setting us up. And if it fails, then you work on how we can get it to work. You don't just go, okay, so we're just going to defend, we're going to drop everyone back, we're not going to put any players in the penalty box, and we're just going to spam crosses, and then we're going to play in a low block when the team have the ball. West Ham had us in a low block in that first half, and we couldn't get out because we have no out ball. It is shocking. It is shocking the way he's got us set up, and he's literally taken what he did at Brentford and he's tried to plug and play at a big club like Tottenham and expected it to work.
It's actually a lot better and more pleasing on the eye at Brentford than it is here.
Nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And people saying, people always call me out and say, yeah, you gave Ange time, blah, blah, because of what I'm saying. At least he tried to play like a big club. Now, don't get me wrong, it went wrong, and I understand that, and I understand why they sacked him. But that we should have brought a manager who tries to play dominant football, control the game with the ball, front foot football. That is the style of football Tottenham fans want to see. And I've got no interest in Thomas Frank's football. Absolutely none. I've never seen a fan base so checked out. You can't give tickets away at the moment. No one is interested in going to the stadium. You go but 20 minutes before the game, people are offering tickets for free. No one taking them. No one, everyone's like, no thanks, I'm all right. First of all, I'd rather not watch it at all, but people would rather watch it at home. I was talking to my friend last night who was at the game. He said he was in the East Stand. He was talking to everyone around him. No one wanted to be there, he said. This is before the game even started. He's like, no one really wanted to be there. He said he was thinking about going to the Cup game. He's like, why should I spend another 70, 80 quid? I'm just going to watch it at home. I'm not interested in going at the moment. It's so bad. He's like, I only went today because I've got a season ticket, so I guess I should go.
Is that Skinhead Dave?
It is Skinhead Dave, yeah. He's like, I got a season ticket, I guess I should go, he said. But other than that, he's like, no one around. No one wants to be watching this football. And I think I can't it's irrelevant to me about what people say about the players, about how good or bad they are. There's good arguments to say that we don't have good enough players. I understand that. But first of all, they're not as bad as what we're saying now. But it's more about what Frank is trying to do with these players. I've got no interest
The reality is a good manager elevates. He elevates the playing staff, he elevates the club, he talks the club up in press conferences, and he elevates everything to do around the club. Everything Thomas Frank has done is the polar opposite to that. He's talked the club down, he's talked the fans down, he's made the players worse than they actually are. So that's where we're at right now. And if a change isn't made today, then I genuinely really fear for the rest of the season, because if they don't sack him today, when are they going to sack him? They're going to wait until we lose to Dortmund? They're going to wait till we lose to Burnley? They're going to wait until the North London derby, till we get embarrassed in another North London derby?
Yeah,
like, seriously, they need to. The announcement should have come already. The announcement should have come last night. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is ridiculous. You got Sky Sports camped out Hotspur Way, waiting for some news to come, which everyone's in the dark about. What are they waiting for? Please tell me what they're waiting for, because this is as much as an untenable situation as I've seen before at this football club.
When you're already at the stage where they're at now, which is, we're deciding, we're not sure, it's indecision.
Yeah, exactly. So make the decision.
At that point, you're too far gone already. Because if you're already thinking that way, as I've said before, one more bad result, and then you're like, okay, this has got to change now. So if you're already there, just make the decision. Like step up.
Not even make the decision, because the decision's probably already made. You need to just push the button. Just push the button, because that the decision's going to come at some point.
I feel like they're still probably hesitating. Like they're still like, yeah, we want to back him. We want to do there's still probably voices, Frank voices in that boardroom trying to push for. We need to give him time. And I think when you're already in a loggerheads there, if there's no full backing behind the scenes, and we already seen that Paratici, he's already wanted him gone, and now he's left, and apparently he's frustrated that Frank's been in the job. Like, if you've already got that conflict behind the scenes, that means it's doomed to failure anyway. It's never going to work. So you've just got to make the change.
Yeah, I completely agree. But we're still sitting here and no change has been made, no button has been pressed, and
there's rumblings, but nothing.
Yeah, we heard there was a meeting at Hotspur Way this morning. Vinay was there and everything.
We heard Vinay got there at 9 a.m.
But what's he been doing from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m?
Drafting a statement, hopefully.
How long does it take? Just make the statement and put it out, and let's move on with our lives.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, for anyone that thinks, Ollie Glasner's about to get sacked at Crystal Palace, it seems, for his
apparently they're keeping him, they said.
Oh, they're keeping him?
Yeah, that's what
Because I think if anyone thinks Ollie Glasner is the answer, it's the same flawed thinking that hired Thomas Frank, in my opinion. So Ollie Glasner is not the answer for Tottenham Hotspur.
But that's also a part of it that maybe should be getting more attention is whoever was in charge of that 30-point plan or whatever bullshit PR they want to spread when they hired Thomas Frank about how many points they had to meet or whatever it was, 100 points or whatever crap they spread. Whoever was in charge of that, whoever headed that up, whoever was involved in that process has to be sacked, has to be held accountable, because it was an absolute bullshit process with absolutely no thinking whatsoever. They had no idea what they were doing. Whoever was in charge of that clearly doesn't have a good grasp on football or football, like actual football knowledge or anything like that. They have to be held accountable, because I don't want them anywhere near the decision to hire the next manager, because they don't know what they're doing. They look at things on a base level. We need people who have deep knowledge of football. It's almost like we need a third-party analyst, like who's different to the analysts we have, like for the manager, like an analyst who's in charge higher up, like with the hierarchy, to analyse what's really going on. Because it's all well and good looking at the results, looking from a base level when you're a businessman and whatever, and you're making the decision, what's really going on the pitch. We need someone who truly knows football, truly knows what can tell the story of what's really going on the pitch to make those decisions. Because I truly believe if they had a football analyst watch Brentford games and watch what Frank was doing at Brentford, they would have told them, this isn't right for this football club. This is not the right decision to go down. He doesn't play the football that we want to see played at Spurs. But because all they did was look at the goal scores column and look at the results and look at the wage budget he was overperforming, they came to the conclusion, yeah, this is the guy that's the right fit for us. But I'm sorry, that is just so surface level. We need deeper thinking. That's why Brighton are getting it right, because they know exactly what they want. They know who plays that kind of football. They have real people in charge who have a deep understanding of all these different things, and they have an unbelievable scouting department as well. I think Brentford as well, they know exactly what they want, and they have a very clear understanding from the hierarchy, not just the management, from the hierarchy of what exactly they are looking for. At this club, the level of football knowledge and thinking from the higher ups is absolute garbage, and I think it's been proven by this appointment. It's been proving how they've managed this situation with him, the fact that they haven't thought ahead about maybe we should start thinking about a change, and now they're panicking. I think the whole thing is absolute mess.
Yeah. And the people that were ahead of that process were Daniel Levy, who's gone now, Vinay Venkatesham, who's obviously top dog CEO at the football club now, and he's the one to answer to. Johan Lang, who I genuinely don't know what Johan Lang has done at this football club in a positive light, apart from bringing a few youngsters that are good for the future. Johan Lang went into Aston Villa, and they just went down and down and down and down. And as soon as he was relieved of his duties, well, first of all, he was downgraded at the club, and then he was relieved of his duties at Aston Villa, and then they saw an upward trajectory from the people that they brought in there. I think it was Monchi that came in. And he's come in here, and things have only got worse and worse and worse since Johan Lang has come to the club. Like, what have these guys done to warrant the position that they've got at Tottenham Hotspur?
Also,
seriously, what have they done?
Nothing. Lange needs to go. Get rid of him, get someone else in. I think Vinay, either he can stay and not have any involvement in any footballing decisions, because I do think he's a good communicator, albeit he hasn't communicated enough. He did write this thing.
The statement was decent, but it's all
on Friday.
But I'm sick of hearing words.
Yeah.
I'm sick of hearing words from this football club. Like, how many times have we seen these kind of statements from Daniel Levy? We haven't seen it in that kind of way, but we've heard at the end of seasons, we need to be better, we need to do this, we need to do that, blah, blah, blah. Cry me a river. Go and show me some action. Go and show me some action. There is never any action at this football club. All we hear is PR jargon, PR words that fall deaf on many people's ears because no one wants to hear it anymore. People want to see action in place, and there's never action in place at this football club. There is never anyone that is held accountable. All it is sack manager, hire manager. It's always the manager's fault, and we move on. Exactly. That's all it is.
I think when I talk about Frank being set up to fail, if people make that argument, I don't think he has when it comes to the playing stuff, but I do think he has by him being appointed and then asked to be a manager that he isn't, or thinking we're expecting him to be a manager that he isn't. He was never the right fit for this football club from day one, and from that point of view, he was set up to fail because it was always doomed for the fans to have backlash in the way that he's playing. So I think from that point of view, I do feel sorry for Frank because we've appointed him, we've given him his big opportunity, but we're asking him to do things that it just isn't him. That isn't his style. That's never how he's done things, and that was always doomed to fail from the start because Tottenham fans were never going to take to that kind of football, in my opinion. So from that point of view, he has been doomed to fail. In terms of the playing staff, in terms of the transfer window he's had, we were saying that someone Tottenham managers probably had a better transfer window in recent history. Maybe it says more about our windows than actual how good the players were he signed. But he did get 5 starters. He got 1 starter in January, although he's only played 1 game. But he's got 1 start in January, and in the summer he got Paulinho, he got Javi Simmons, he got Mohamed Kudus. He did get players to improve this team. So I don't think it's fair to say when it comes in terms of the club backing him and doomed to fail from that point of view. I do think he's got more than enough players to do something on the pitch with what he's got. I don't believe he's been set up to fail from the signings point of view or club backing point of view, but I do think he's been doomed to fail and set up to fail by him being appointed in a role that's just completely not suited to him, and it was never the right fit.
You know what, though? Like, manager change or no manager change, anyone coming into this football club, it could be Pep Guardiola, they are on a hiding to nothing going on for the rest of the season. Look at the injury crisis that we're in, you know? How is any manager expected to come in and get instant results? I don't think any manager can come in and get instant results. We've got hardly any midfielders left. We've got forwards that can't hit a barn door. We've got defenders, not many defenders left either. So, I mean, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what manager is even supposed to come here and change our fortunes in terms of results?
I don't know. We just need a manager who's going to be positive and try and be on the front foot and try and get us believing in the team again. Because right now, there is no belief from anyone in the fan base, and it seems as though seems as though there's less belief every moment from the hierarchy. But I agree. I do have a bit of sympathy for Frank right now, in the sense that the injury crisis is very deep, and we've lost potentially another 2 injuries yesterday. We know Ben Davies went down, Archie Gray. He's potentially picked up a knock at half-time. That's forced him out. When you look at the Champions League squad, Basuma, Solanke, Dragoshin, Gallagher, all can't play in the Champions League, so they're going to be unavailable for Tuesday. At the moment, if Paulinho is not back, we only have Bergvall as a fit centre mid, and maybe Sarr if he's back from AFCON, but that's going to,
have to rush him back.
You have to rush him back.
He hasn't get him back on a Concorde.
Sorry?
Need to get him back on a Concorde.
Exactly. He hasn't played much, but still, I think in a perfect scenario, you probably want to give him at least a week break before coming back into the fold, but needs must at the moment, I guess. So you've got Lucas Bergvall and you've got Pape Sarr for Tuesday. That is it. So any manager coming in has got an absolute horrible hand to play. So when it comes to immediate results, it's going to be tough. But hopefully, if we can... I don't know. I find it tough to see us getting a permanent manager right now. Anyway, even in the best of times. So
there's 2 clear options for if we want to hire a permanent manager now. That's either Javi or Maresca.
Yeah,
those are the only 2.
Yeah, and I don't see either of them coming because I think Maresca's waiting for City. Because I think Pep, that job might open up. I know there's rumours of that. And Alonso's waiting for Liverpool because that job might open up. So I think both of them are going to look at Tottenham and say, no, thanks, but no thanks. That's probably the scenario. Hopefully, look, maybe they can sit down and say, look, we've got the transfer budget. We do have money available. If you come here, there will be players looking at this project and saying, actually, this is something I do want to join. It's, it's a challenge for you. You'll be seen as a go, turn Tottenham around. That, you're going to be given all the resources you want. You're going to get the full back, and we're going to give you time. We're going to give you as much time as you need. This is, this is a project we can sell you on. You're in London. Imagine you do well with Tottenham. What a extraordinary achievement that would be. Maybe you can sell it to him in that way, but I think at the moment he's still going to be looking at Liverpool's my heart, and I'm going to wait for that job, or I'm going to wait till the summer. Then again, there is no guarantee that opens up, albeit it looks likely at the moment. And with Maresca, City is City. If they come calling, he's there.
I'll tell you to what level the stadium turned yesterday, yeah? Because everyone heard the chants on TV. I saw the drummer at the end of the game walking down the stairs, drumming to fans singing, "You're sacked in the morning. You're getting sacked in the morning." How mad is that?
Did it have the microphone on the drum?
But he was literally drumming to it. And I saw him at half time and I had a quick chat with him and he was just like, "I am done, man. I am done. Frank has got to go."
I saw him tweet yesterday saying, "Ange back, season 3.
Yeah.
That's where
you know what? Everything that I've given to Ange over the past year, I'll take him back right now. I really would.
Back in a heartbeat. Yeah, he wouldn't come on as interim though, would he?
No.
He won't promises that he's here for at least.
He definitely ain't coming for a relegation battle, I'll tell you that, even though he finished 17th last season. But he would let us get relegated to go try win the Champions League.
Yeah, God. It is a mess. It is a mess, and I don't really know what we do now. I mean, I know one thing that needs to happen is Frank gone, but apart from after that, I understand the fans saying, because that hasn't changed, that feeling of what the hell do we do now if and when we do sack Frank, what direction do we go in? It is really up in the air. I think the only suggestion that everyone's kind of on board with, that can kind of get all the fans mostly behind, is an interim till the summer and then getting Poch, and that seems something that's realistic and fans can get behind.
That seems like the only realistic option that we actually have.
But whether that is the right move, it wouldn't be my first choice in terms of, I love Poch and I would like to see him get another crack at the whip and see how he does. But when it comes to him being at the forefront of managerial appointments at the moment and him being in the elite category, I don't know if he's in that stage at the moment. I think he was when he was there when we had him, but I think right now football has kind of gone on to a different stage in terms of how teams are set up and stuff. And I don't know if Poch has kind of is up there at the moment with a lot of the modern day coaches. Not to say maybe you get him in, can he get you back battling again for top 6 and whatever, and with a bit more high pressing, and it's a bit more enjoyable, and you get to see Tottenham attacking again and being brave again, and maybe that's all we need, and that's all we'll get behind. Does he
what more do you want?
My point is, we harbour back to Poch being the manager who got us regular top 4, got us in some title races, and got us to a Champions League final. Now, is he a manager that can still do that? Do I believe he's a manager who can get us back to that level? Not in terms of where we were back then. I don't know, to be honest. But is he a manager who can definitely get us back into challenging for top 6 and doing it in a way which is good, we can get on board with? Yes, and maybe right now it's so bad, I would probably take that, to be honest. So I'll be on board with it. But is it a manager that I believe is going to get us truly back to where he was? I don't know.
No manager is going to get us back to truly where we was. It's going to take a long, long road to get there. There is no manager that comes in and in the next 2 years gets us back to fighting for league titles. That is fanciful thinking. What we need to think about is solidifying ourselves back in that top 6, getting regular European football again. And whatever manager comes in, they're going to need massive help from the board to help us get there.
I agree. I'm just saying, there are managers like a Nagelsmann or Alonso, something like that, who they probably do that in the short term, and then long term maybe could, if given the right back and whatever, really challenge the very top. I don't know if Poch could do that, but I do think he could do the first bit.
Yeah, and that's what we need right now. We need someone that can get us to that first
if the other stuff is unattainable. Yeah,
and I do think the other stuff is unattainable. I don't think Spurs are anywhere close to being where the fans actually want us to be, and where Poch kind of left us, well, a couple of years before he left us in, Champions League finals and being top of the league or top 2-3 teams in the league. Like, we are so far away from that in terms of the personnel of the playing staff. Like, we need to be aiming just to get European football again. You know what I mean? Forget challenging for league titles.
Which is why I would take Poch. I'm not thinking about challenging in league titles in the short term. I'm thinking of a manager who could potentially do that over the long term.
And a manager like that ain't coming to us right now. That's the reality.
I agree.
That's the reality.
But then again, we also thought Conte would never come, and we thought, maybe Mourinho as well. We thought those kind of managers wouldn't come, and they did. So sometimes they can be sold on a project, but I just have no faith that this hierarchy are selling anyone on anything right now. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And we've already seen there's been a lot of hesitancy from players who need convincing to come to this club. Some yes, some did, some were convinced, some weren't. We've seen right now that Tottenham is just not the most attractive place, and that is the barefaced truth of the matter.
Yeah.
Even the players we do sign seem to reject us at first, and then when other options dry up, they come back crawling with their tails between their legs. That's what seems to happen. So I think even Conte rejected us at first, and it needed Nuno being sacked before we must have just thrown everything at him and said, "Look, fuck it, we'll just give you whatever you want."
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of convincing right now to get any manager in place. But if I was a hierarchy, I would be on the phone to Alonso right now and just chuck everything you can at him. If it's a no, it's a no, but all you can do is ask.
Give him a percentage of the club, mate. Do anything you can to get him through the doors.
Give him a stake in the stadium. Give him your free Beyonce concerts. Give him whatever he wants.
Tell him you get 10% of all Beyonce revenue.
Exactly. 20% off the Spurs shop. Whatever you want.
I did see a suggestion online about Arnie Slot. Maybe that's a reason we've brought in Johnny Heitinga, potentially Arnie Slot next season.
I would take him.
I mean, at first I said no, but right now I would definitely take him. Look, him and Heitinga. Apparently, Heitinga was very key to what he did last season.
Another man who rejected us before, by the way, Slot.
Yeah, but if Slot's going to get sacked by Liverpool this season or at the end of the season, to bring in Heitinga as number 2 and Slot as his number 1, I think that could be something positive.
I would take him. I think it would be fun as well. I think he's a very attacking manager. And look, it has gone wrong for Liverpool this season, but I still think there's a good manager in there. There's a lot of reasons why it's gone wrong, but obviously he's got to take the ultimate responsibility. But I think for me, I think he could do a good job here. And it's something new as well, someone we've looked at before and we tried to hire before. So I think I would like him, and he's already won a Premier League as well. So I think we could do a lot worse than Arnie Slot. Yeah,
and it's not like someone who won the Premier League like 10 years prior. He literally won it last season.
Exactly.
But look, that's the situation right now. No update on Thomas Frank. Apparently, there could be an imminent decision at some point, but that remains to be seen.
An imminent decision at some point.
That's Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it?
Right.
All right, let's get into a